thankfully, he laughed it off and walked away. And I was like, Lord, please forgive me for being that fleshly within the church. Because it was right there. It was ready. In your flesh, in my flesh, we have no filter. In the position of pastor, I have way too many details about your life for you to push me to the flesh. Because I'm going to unload. And so the reality is we need to step back and go, okay, hey, this is a member of the body of Christ. What would the head have me do? I'm not supposed to retaliate. I'm not supposed to get back. Take one for the team. I was playing basketball in high school. We were in this big tournament, and we got blown out. We got tortured. It was bad. But during the game, the ball got loose, and I went after it because that was just my thing. I'm the point guard. I will sacrifice my life. Well, as I went for it, and I'm down like this, a friend of mine went for it at the same time. His head hit the bridge of my nose. We were both going full speed. Bow! I saw stars, and I don't even know where the ball went. I didn't care. And I turned around, and I had tears in my eyes. My nose didn't bleed, which is amazing. But I had tears coming down my face. I was seeing stars, and whatever play happened after that, I wasn't present for it. I was in the middle of the court going, oh, this is not, I didn't want to look at my hands because I'm like, there's got to be blood like running everywhere. And I remember spinning around and seeing all the guys, and it looked like there was 400 of them because it was so blurry. And they're all running in the other direction, and I couldn't even focus to find the hoop. I didn't even know where we were. And I spun around, and I got my nose to where it wasn't causing my eyes to tear up. And I just kind of bent over, and the world is still spinning. And I looked in the direction of my coach. There was 4 of them. And I thought, one of you needs to get me out of here. And I just headed in that direction. The kid that hit me, he came over and he apologized, and he apologized, and he apologized. And I finally had to stop him. I said, get your head in the game. I don't need you to stand here and apologize. Get out on the floor and play. He said, yeah, but. I said, yeah, but nothing. You were doing your job. I was doing my job. We intersected. You got off easy this time. Wait till next time. But as a team player, it was not time for me to tell him, listen, that was my position. You should have let me get the ball. You should. No. It's like, hey, I'm taking one for the team. Get out there and play. In the church, we need to realize that we need to be of the mindset, I'm just going to take one for the team. Now, if somebody is always rude and they're just always negative and they're just always nasty, come talk to me. We'll address them. But if they just say something in stupidity or ignorance and it hurts you a little bit, just take it. I think, I'm going to step out on a limb here. I think what Jesus took for you on the way to the cross may surpass any verbal abuse you might have to suffer. I'm thinking. If you don't believe so, you need to read your Bible about what Jesus took on the way to the cross. But we're going to have to be of the mindset that I'm going to take some for the team. I want to be well-pleasing to God. I want to, in whatever way I have to sacrifice this body, I want to be well-pleasing to God. And there may be some times we have to take some things. There's been times where, over the years, negative things have been said about me as the pastor here. And my wife has asked, what are you going to do? And my response has become this, outlive it. Well, what if people believe? I mean, one thing I feel is if you say something negative about the pastor and people are worried about that, you're leaving the church people alone. So it's kind of a community service I provide. Abuse the pastor verbally. But the reality is, I'm not worried about what people say about me. I'm worried about what my God says about me. If I'm well-pleasing in His sight, shoot the arrows. Throw the spears. It's all good. But we've got to have that mindset because it should be on the forefront of our mind. I want God to be well-pleased with everything that I do. Every action, every reaction, and especially in these last days. I don't want to finish my course failing. I don't want to be one of those that's tripping up to the rapture. Oh man, I've been floundering around. You ever seen a guy running a touchdown with a football? And he's got the ball, but he's not really got the ball. It's like he's fumbling it. He hasn't lost it yet, and he's still got it, but it's like the ugliest touchdown you've ever seen in your life. Now, it's remembered, but the questions are always, why didn't you get a hold of that? Why didn't you grab onto that thing? Why don't I don't want to be a Christian that's fumbling across the finish line. I want to get a hold of some things. I want to run across the finish line victoriously. And so we've got to be focused on the fact that God is well pleased. There's some things that are going to cause us to be overthrown. Look at verses 6 and on there. These things were our examples, to the intent that we should not lust after evil things, as they also lusted. So, obviously, the problem we have in the human race is to lust after things. Now, many times when we mention the word lust, our minds, our vocabulary, all automatically goes to sexual desires. Sexual desires are wound up in that. In fact, we'll see that here in a minute. But this idea of lust is just desires. That you would desire something other than God in your life. Anything that I would desire that would lead me astray from God, or that I would put in place of God, is something that I've begun to lust after. And James helps us in this area. He says, every man is tempted when he's drawn away of his own lust. So the reality is that desire is within me. It's not that something is out there and like, oh, look at that. That desire comes from here. And then leads us, when we feed it, to go astray from God. So these things are given to us for an example that we would not lust after evil things. Look at verse 7. As were some of them. As it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. And on that note, I'm going to take a drink. Notice I didn't sit down, though. I'll mention this in Sunday school. This is the American culture. Sit down, eat, drink, and play. We're lazier than we've ever been. We eat more than we've ever eaten. We drink more than we've ever drinking. And we play at everything. It's hard, and I talk to people regularly. I talk to managers and supervisors and business owners. It is hard to find good workers. Most people want a paycheck that they can pay to obtain. I don't want to work real hard. Honestly, I'm thinking about doing this. I have not gotten the green light from the Lord on this yet, but I'm thinking about anybody that wants to go into the ministry, pastoring or evangelism or missionary or whatever. I'm thinking about taking them for 2 years and putting them on a farm. Like, listen, you want to train for the ministry? Here. This is what you're going to do for the next 2 years. Oh, well, why? Because when you grow up on a farm or you work on a farm, you're a cog in the machinery. You're not important. You're not special. You're not above anybody. You're just part of the machine. Now, I know it's a bad term to use these days. But in the farming sense, you don't get accolades for working real hard, because that's what you do. You don't, my parents, I should probably sue them for this. We never got a participation trophy after a year's hard work. My dad never said, well, now we're going to have the awards for the year. Dan, you were the MVP, most valuable pain. We didn't get awards for that. Now, my parents said thank you. When we'd put in a real hard day, they made sure that we knew they appreciated it. They fed us well, had a roof over our heads, gave us blankets and all that kind of stuff, the wonderful stuff you need. All of that, provided all of that. But I don't even have a ribbon to hang on my wall from all those hours of work. I'll tell you what I do have, though. I have a work ethic that surpasses most people my age. I still get it to this day, and I'll probably get it more as we go on. I'll be working and somebody, man, what are you, like 34? Yeah, I'm 34. Uh-huh. God bless you and may he give you long days. 34? That's back a ways. But when you come across somebody that works, there's a guy that I work with. He's up, I think he's close to 60. He's the guy that takes down the fences when I got to take a shed in. And so you say, well, that doesn't sound very hard, taking down the fence. The fence is not the problem, it's the post. Oftentimes there's 3 bags of concrete around the post. He's got to break that up, and there's times he leaves me a hole that big that I've got to figure out how to navigate around. You drive down in it and pull the shed back up. But I look at him, and I asked him a while ago, I said, Dave, why do you do this? Like, he's retired. I'm like, why do you do this? He goes, Dan, he said, if I stop now, I'm dead. I'm like, I'd rather be dead. But that work ethic is something that our world has just, well, I can make a living playing. Well, have at it then. But that is idolatry. We all tend to worship something other than God. Whatever it may be. I think of, I like trucks, I do. And I see some guys with their truck. My wife and I were leaving Josh and Christine's Friday night, and this guy came up the road, and he's got this flashy